Yeah, Elsie's a little busy playing with Lily the Wonder Dog.
It's all good. It's all good, baby.
She's Lily the Wonder Dog because we all wonder why the hell we haven't murdered her yet.
Oh, really? It was my impression that she was a good dog.
No, she's a great dog. She is. I'm just a bad dog owner.
Yeah, so I'm worse. You're not Michael Vick-like.
No, but I am negligent. So let me tell you this quick tale. So Friday night, I get home from work. Elsie asks me to walk the dog. Now, it turns out that Elsie likes from time to time to let the dog off the chain, and I've learned to let the dog off the chain just as Elsie has kind of demonstrated for me. In fact, she's joining me right now to tell her side of the story, undoubtedly. But in any event,
I'm getting blamed for it.
No, you're not getting blamed for it.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, let the story unfold before you accept your blame.
My bad.
All right, so in any event, I'm walking the dog. I take a nice long walk with her. I'm on the way back, and as we're coming to a part of the trail that is basically forested, I let her off the chain. No one's around. It's pitch black. And off she runs. Now, normally, when I let her off the chain like that, I just continue to walk and she'll catch up with me in a couple of minutes. In this particular case, I hear some ducks quacking a long way away and no Lily. So I start walking back, whistling and calling, no Lily. So I start walking back. About 5 minutes later, still no Lily. I call Elsie and say, I've lost the dog. So she's 15 minutes away. So she says, look, I'll drive up there. I'm on my way home. I'll drive up there. We'll go look for her together. And so for the next 15 minutes, I'm whistling, I'm calling, I'm walking up and down on this little section of trail where I let her go. Nothing. All of a sudden, I see this light coming and I hear, because I'm whistling and calling for her this whole time loudly. As only I can, as you know.
Right.
I hear this boy say, we got your dog, mister. And up walks these two boys, probably 12 years old, with Lily on a leash, interestingly enough. And I say to them, oh, this is great. Where was she? And she'd run off into some neighboring. She'd run basically back the way we had come instead of towards me in the dark. And was wandering around the neighborhood, making friends wherever she went. These two boys grabbed her, put a leash on her, and started looking around for whose owner she might be, or who might be her owner, rather. And so eventually they walked to me. So this whole process probably took a half hour. So I was so happy to see this dog because I thought, there's no worse way to get in your wife's bad graces than to lose the family dog.
I mean, she would have been found eventually,
Yeah, the irony is I was like, whatever, fuck that bitch, She should come home.
Yeah, well.
She knows where the food is.
Well, or did she? Anyway, the point is that I was so happy to see that these two boys had corralled the dog and brought her to me that I gave them $20.
Oh, well, that's nice of you.
Yeah. So it was a happy ending for everyone.
The lesson they learned is to steal people's dogs and you'll get paid for it.
Yeah, they did learn that. And that's a good lesson. I
mean, it's entrepreneurial.
It is. So that's basically, I don't know why I told that story. I think it was because Elsie was busy playing with the dog, whereas I would be busy losing the dog. Because I'm a bad pet owner.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. She just had some shit. She smelled something, interesting on the horizon and followed her heart. I'm not sure you were in the equation. Your goodness or badness as an owner was even factored into her decision at all.
You weren't in her heart, or she would have followed you.
That's probably true. Anyway, she showed me who was boss of the walk, and it was her, as it turns out. So I'm glad. Thanks for taking out all the judgment on it, Nick. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wasn't in her heart. All right. Well, very good. Shall we get going?
Yeah, sure.
Welcome to a very special trio edition of A Shin Show. I'm your host, Pete Shin. Joining me right here in the undisclosed location on the East Coast sound booth is wife Elsie Shin. Hello.
Hello.
And joining me from the undisclosed bunker location underneath the sub-basement of the undisclosed location in the Midwest is son Nicholas.
Hello. Salam and good evening.
Good evening. And I understand that Sara, beloved daughter, who usually joins you in the underground sub-basement bunker location, is in fact on a cruise.
Yeah, she should be back at any time now. I was told 5:30 today.
I see.
Which it is past that time when they're not here, but it's all good. I'm sure they're whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's her spouse's birthday,
Sometimes travel can be complicated, especially on airplanes, and, you're in that fucking airplane for hours. The air's all stuffy. What a lot of people don't know is that if you throw coins into the engines just before takeoff, shredded metal gets sucked into the air intakes, ionizing the cabin air and creating a refreshing environment. Chinese people have known this for thousands of years. This technique is mentioned in both the Tao Te Ching and Sun Tzu's Art of Air Travel.
I did not know that at all.
Yeah, so maybe they utilize some of those techniques. Who knows?
Who can say? Yeah. For the record, I do not recommend putting any foreign object or debris in or near an aircraft engine. Disclaimer.
I guess, yeah. If you want to breathe in the fart tube.
Unless you want to land on the Hudson.
Right. Yeah. All right. So, don't listen to my son's air travel advice. But yeah, air travel can be complicated, so they're not back yet. But it is Sara Shin's spouse's birthday today. You knew that, right?
Sarah Murphy. We all know her as Sarah Murphy.
Yeah,
no need for the complicated explanation.
I definitely knew that, and I'm definitely
in serious trouble right now.
Yeah.
Fun fact, when you're listening to this later, Sarah, I didn't know it was your birthday today until we became Facebook friends. So all hail Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, here's the thing is I got some important stuff on my phone, but my phone's about to die. So you keep it running. I'm going to go grab a charger.
We'll just keep it going without you.
Keep it going, buddy.
Yeah.
Aw, shit.
Yeah. Kind of tough to keep a 3-person show going with a third of the show missing.
Especially when the 2/3 remaining are a married couple, so it's likely to devolve into a list of chores that need accomplished.
Right.
And what have you done for me lately?
Potential discussion of bowel movements.
Watching the dog
possible.
eat cat shit out of the litter box.
Yeah, she's a bad dog.
She's not actually doing that.
Oh, good. Well,
thank God Nick's singing.
Like Nick's coming back any minute now.
Oh, that was rough. Never do that to us again.
Baby.
Yeah, because
I'm ready.
Because Nick, what we discussed while you were gone was a list of chores, the dog eating cat shit out of the litter box, and our bowel movements. So that's a married couple's discussion right there.
Yeah, very interesting, very riveting, very cool stuff.
Right. It was going to be that or the bulge in the pants. I don't know.
Married couples don't discuss that. So
you sure?
Yeah. Anyway. So last time we didn't have time to get into my restaurant public service announcements.
Yeah, so you want to get into it right away?
Yeah, let's just do this one right now. Just get it out of the way real quick.
Okay. Well, hold on before we get started.
You got to be introed.
You sure do have to be introed. First of all, the theme music, right? Which is Ask a Restaurant Worker with Nick Shin. There's that's the intro. Hey, it's time now for Ask a Restaurant. It's Restaurant PSA. Restaurant Etiquette PSA with Nick Shin. Take it away, Nick.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, so Dad, or I guess Elsie, if either one of you go out to eat somewhere and you're sitting across from each other and the server walks up and asks you, are we going to do 1 check or 2 checks? And if you say separate checks, but you both have cash, you need to be executed. Okay? What you do when you both have cash is you figure it out amongst yourselves. With 2 people, it's a little less egregious. But if there's like an office party and there's 7 of you coming out to eat, you all need separate checks, but you all have cash, you need to go fuck yourselves. What you do is you give each other cash. You say, okay, well, you owe me $5. There you go. You figure it out. So that way everyone can get out earlier. You know what I mean? This isn't just, all these things aren't just for the good of the server. This is for the good of everyone. A well-oiled machine's cogs must all turn in unison.
This sounds like it's being told by someone who can only have this opinion having not worked in an office environment, because that's presuming that you actually like and or trust your coworkers. And I'm just going to say that's not real. You're civil to your coworkers because you have to be. Okay, well then, you shouldn't be fucking eating out together then. You know, a lot of times you have to. Maybe it's somebody's birthday. Okay, well, I think you should put your hatred for each other aside when dealing with third parties. You know what I mean? Go fuck yourself. You better not drag. Okay, I mean, if you just want to drag everyone else into the muck, I can respect that. That's fine. But still, you need to be shot. And it's all good.
but you need to be shot. It's all cool.
So, in other words, if you're paying with cash but multiple checks, just do all that figuring yourself and don't burden your waitstaff with it.
Yeah, here, let me put it another way. Unless all you have to pay with is cards and it needs to be separate checks because you hate each other for whatever fucking reason, that's all right. You can't divvy that up. It's got to be separate checks if you have cards. But if you have cash, figure it out amongst yourself, you dumb fucking animals.
Well, let me ask you this question. Let's say that I'm with 6 people, and 4 of those I'm paying for everybody, but 5 of the people need to go on one kind of credit card, and 1 person needs to go on another credit card. Impossible?
Of course that's not impossible. It's just incredibly convoluted. Now, in what situation would you need that to happen?
Every situation I'm in on the road. I got 1 credit card for me, 1 credit card for the people I'm taking.
Oh, wait. Okay, well, if you just say, okay, so put everything on 1 check except for one thing, me, for mine. Mine is on a separate check. That's not as hard, dude. That's 2 checks. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If we're talking about 8 different checks and then, the bill is $20-some and then everyone hands me $100 fucking bill. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I don't understand. You could have figured this out amongst yourselves. Now I got to do the whole fucking change shuffle now we're all going to be here. If you want your fucking change for another 30 so minutes while I figure this out.
Well, it seems to me.
It takes you that long to figure it out?
That was a bit of hyperbole.
Yes, but let's say it seems to me this is an opportunity for you.
But sometimes it does take that long, especially you have to consider it's not just one table. You have, in my case, I have 8, 9 other tables who don't want to hear the fucking excuse of why I'm off in the back trying to figure some shit out. That's not their problem. They don't care. But these people, on the other hand, who I'm getting this figured out for, they want to leave. So now it's created a clusterfuck. Now everyone's getting out slower because you're a dumbass.
So let me ask you this. Why don't you just say you're not going to want change with this, are you?
Well, because then they're going to, here's another thing, dude. When I drop a check and I say, I'll take care of this when you're ready, and you say, oh, you'll take care of it? Do you realize how much of an asshole you're being? Do you understand that you're holding me verbally hostage? I have 2 choices, right? I can either fake laugh at that stupid joke and, just be like, oh, that was so funny. So disingenuous. So not getting a good tip. Yeah. Or I can just look at you like you're stupid and be like, or now I got to come up with something like, oh no, we're going to do a little magic trick where you give me all your fucking money and I make the bill go away without the cops being called. Now it's your turn to laugh. Now I'm holding you verbally hostage. Do you see this weird situation we've created for each other that was totally unnecessary?
A lot of people just think they're funny, Nick.
Yeah, well, they ain't. You're not.
You've spent a whole lifetime with your father, and this is when you're starting to realize that dad jokes suck?
Yeah.
Just now. Sorry. I apologize for every joke I've ever told.
Aw, your jokes are good.
Yeah.
Well, just in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, never again.
Also, last thing, if you're saying thank you to someone, make sure, say it loudly and concise. Okay? There's nothing more awkward when I do something for one of my tables, and I think they said thank you. Now you're at a crossroads here. Did they just say thank you? If you say you're welcome and they didn't say thank you, you're a fucking asshole. But if you don't want to risk it, so you don't say you're welcome, but they said thank you, you're a fucking asshole. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, just
smile and nod.
Yeah, that's what I do that all the time. Just smile and nod.
Yeah, sometimes that's weird though. There's certain situations where but you didn't know if that's what they were saying or if they were talking. I don't know. That's just something that's weird.
Well, Elsie and I did go to a restaurant this weekend, in fact, and our waitress was perfect. She seemed super depressed and didn't say more than about 8 words to us.
And was a bit slow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it perfect. It was a bit of a wait.
It wasn't a wait at all. What are you talking about?
It was a bit of a wait.
Oh, I didn't perceive the wait.
What was a bit of a wait?
Because you were looking at your phone.
I don't recall that.
What was a bit of a wait?
What was a bit of a wait?
Everything was a bit of a wait. Took a minute to get our orders in. Took a minute to get our orders. Took a long minute to get a check. Well, wait. While I was expecting the check, then it came with dessert? And then it took a while with the dessert. The dessert was fastest. And then it took another while to wait for the check. There was only 2 other tables in the place at the time.
Yeah, but the waitress was depressed. I already said that. That's always going to slow you down. I think Nick would agree with
So
that.
are you saying that she went to the back to cut her wrist just a little bit each time, and that's why we had to wait?
Maybe.
the
You
bleeding
shouldn't
stop?
be depressed. Even if you are depressed, hey, guess what, asshole? You got to put your poker face on and do the monkey dance for the money. You want money, don't you? Look, you're going to work and you're going to do this shit either way. So you might as well have a good fucking attitude for them because you want to get paid, right? If you're in a shitty mood and then you don't get any tips also, that's going to exacerbate the mental problems.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what
I
mean?
agree. But let me just say this. Now that, you're my son, I can't not tip 20% under basically any circumstances.
Well, no, if they're a shitty server, they don't need 20%.
Well, I wouldn't say she was shitty. She was just depressed. I liked it.
Well, I'm not talking
She
about her.
got
I'm just
20%.
saying there's situations where it's acceptable to not tip 20%. But it's got to be, for me, I always tip like well over 20%. It's got to be egregious for me to not tip at least 20%.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and so it all comes back again to, at least in a situation where a bunch of people are giving you cash, if they tip you generously, worth it, no?
Dude, yeah, if you tip me right, you can spit in my mouth. I don't care. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
I'll hold both my top and bottom eyelids open, and you can just hock a loogie right in there if you tip me well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do. I do know exactly what you mean. And so, again, with Ask a Server or Restaurant Etiquette with Nick Shin, the bottom line is pay me more.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And here's another thing. Like,
And just
Hold on.
one more thing.
just one more thing. I feel like, the whole tip your server thing is kind of an obvious one. But what a lot of people don't understand is that on every table, on the sales, regardless of if you get tipped or not, you're tipping out to the busboy and the bartender. So if you don't tip me, it's not like I just did that for free. I just paid you to eat. You understand? I still paid for that table to eat, whether you tip me or not. So,
Yeah, I get that because you've said that many times.
Yes, like every time.
Every time.
okay, well, then it's important every time.
It is. Every time. Well, it's in I believe it's in Sun Tzu's Art of Tipping.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And he knows a thing or two.
He sure does. That airplane travel tip, that was huge.
You know what Mein
I'll tell you
Kampf's
too.
really about? Paying for people to eat.
What's up?
Mein Kampf. That's what it's really about.
No, why do you got to bring up Hitler? Why? Like, Hitler has nothing to do with it.
You
Hey,
don't know.
do you
don't know.
remember when there
People
was
have
all
the
that
system.
shit in the news about Ellen DeGeneres and George W. Bush sitting next to each other?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why? Why was that in the fucking news, dude? That was starting to really make me angry.
Because
Who
it's
cares?
so brave to sit next to somebody in public that vehemently disagrees with you. It's
I
like,
guess,
wow,
dude.
so courageous. I'm being sarcastic. It's dumb. Like, why people were even upset about it in the first place is dumb. And then to come out and actually say it was brave and courageous is also dumb. It's called being a decent human fucking being.
I guess. Like, they're both caricatured. Like, George W. Bush is not, I don't know the guy, but I'm sure he's not how he has been portrayed in the media, and neither is Ellen DeGeneres. They just fucking got the tickets. Like, oh, hey, how you doing? All right, cool.
Yeah.
And watch the goddamn game.
Yeah, look, here's the
Exactly.
thing. They have one important, whatever their difference is, they have one thing that is in common. And you know what that is? They're both multi-fucking millionaires, okay? So money talks, bullshit walks. They both are basically on a level of human existence in America that 99.9% of us are not. And so who cares if they disagree? They both can buy one another each 50 times.
Yeah. They're still laughing all the way to the bank, either way, regardless of the news.
But in answer to your question, why were people so upset? It's because they French kissed.
Oh, okay.
In front
Well,
of their wives. So it was kind of awkward for poor
Oh, my
Portia
God.
and Laura.
Yeah.
What a horrible video. Where would I find something like that
But
so I
then
know
Laura
where
and
to
Portia
avoid
got
it?
it on, so it's cool. It was a whole
What
swinging
website
thing.
is it on so I know which one not to go to specifically?
It's on deepfake.com. So anyway,
Yeah, dope.
yeah. Anyway, so that happened. Hey, speaking of news and people and things, so this is, I think, the funniest thing that happened this week, which is President Trump announced he's no longer going to be a resident of New York City. Instead, he's going to become a resident of Florida. And you know what that makes him, son?
Florida man.
You know that's right.
That's right. Florida man has become president.
That's right. Well, the president has become Florida man, and I think that that's actually quite accurate. So,
Yeah.
I think it's the most correct thing he's done yet.
yeah, it's certainly the most in character. So, so that happened this week, and that's all the news that I really have, plus my personal news of losing the dog.
Segue into Florida man, though. Nick, I realize I didn't send this to you yet, so you haven't seen it, but your younger stepbrother dressed as Gardner Minshew II for Halloween. And for those who don't know who Gardner Minshew II is, he is the current Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback who looks like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. So Brad was rocking the Florida Man 70s high, I don't know what you want to call it, but it was a look. And it was especially fun as he handed out candy to trick-or-treaters, and they realized he was wearing jorts. So as they're reaching in for the candy, they just get man leg right next to the candy. And it was very off-putting, and it made us very happy.
Yeah. In any event, it's kind of hard to describe what it looked like, but it did look like Florida Man and Gardner Minshew II, although I do not believe Gardner Minshew II will be the Jacksonville quarterback very much longer. Had a bad game. And Nick Foles is getting healthy. So there's that. All right. You had a Halloween also. Did you, have a costume for Halloween?
No, I didn't do dick. I had to work on Halloween.
Scary.
I work on every holiday but Thanksgiving.
I see. Well, I'm so sorry. In any event,
whatever.
So you missed
Holidays are kind of stupid, but they're kind of overrated, It's like can't you, I don't know. It's kind of dumb. You can do anything that you do on a holiday just on a normal day in the privacy of your own home at 4 a.m. in front of a mirror. Which I do regularly.
Not even in front of a mirror. Right. Exactly. Like I both give away and eat candy in front of a mirror at 4 a.m. pretty much almost every day.
Yeah. Or, it doesn't have to be in front of a mirror. It can be in a completely all blacked out soundproof room.
Right.
That you constructed, that you dug into your shed. On one of those long sleepless nights.
Right, for that purpose.
Although it's awkward to give the candy to children in that environment.
Oh, very awkward. In fact, downright criminal.
It's awkward, and it's difficult to even get them there alone, separated. You really got to try. You got to want it at that point.
Yeah, very seriously. All right, so thanks for we didn't have the outro. This has been Restaurant Etiquette Tips with Nick Shin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And go fuck yourself to death. Not you specifically, but anyone else listening to this.
But also you. I mean, it's
way.
cool.
But also me.
You're not excluded.
No, far from it. All right. So, had I done any show prep, I'd be ready to move on to the next segment.
Well, I got a question for you.
Oh, I'm ready for an answer. Yeah.
For the both of yous.
Yes.
What is the scariest thing in the world in real life?
Ooh, I know the answer to that question.
Lay it on me.
The scariest thing in the world in real life is the prospect of nuclear Armageddon, which has not been significantly reduced, but instead has been dramatically increased over the last 10 years.
That personally is the scariest thing to you?
Yes.
The scariest real world threat to you?
Absolutely. By far.
What about you, Elsie?
I'm going to need a minute. Why don't you go?
Okay, well, I've decided that it's rabies.
Okay.
You want me to tell you why?
Yes, and I have some intimate knowledge of rabies, so you go first.
All right. Well, it's a pretty. It's kind of a whole thing. It's a whole spiel that I copied and pasted. But it's this guy paints a good picture.
Oh yeah, okay? It's a terrifying disease. It's absolutely horrifying. It's pretty much the worst disease you can get.
Yeah. And by the time you have symptoms, by the time you know you have it, it's far too late. But so it's exceptionally common, but people just don't run into the animals that carry it often. Skunks, especially, and bats.
And raccoons.
And dogs. Anybody can get it. Anything could get it.
Any mammal, for sure.
But those are the ones that usually have it.
Yeah. Skunks, bats, raccoons.
So let's set the scene here. You go camping, and at midday, you decide to take a nap in a nice little hammock. While sleeping, a tiny brown bat in the rage stages of infection is fidgeting in broad daylight, uncomfortable and thirsty due to the hydrophobia, and you snort, startling him. He goes into attack mode. Except you're asleep, and he's a little brown bat, so he weighs around 6 grams. You don't even feel him land on your bare knee, and he starts to bite. His teeth are tiny, hardly enough to even break the skin, but he does manage to give you the equivalent of a tiny scrape that goes completely unnoticed. Rabies does not travel in your blood. In fact, a blood test won't even tell you if you've got it. Antibody tests may be done, but it's useless if you've ever been vaccinated. You wake up none the wiser. If you notice anything at the bite site at all, you assume you lightly scraped it on something. The bomb has been lit, and your nervous system is now the wick. The rabies will multiply along your nervous system, doing virtually no damage and completely undetectable. You literally have no symptoms.
You're feeling great.
Yeah, you're feeling on top of the world. You have a theme song. You just bought a new suit.
You've been camping. You've been napping in a hammock.
Right, you went from camping to a
you're
new
napping
suit.
in a fucking hammock, for Christ's sake.
Right. Things are great.
Yeah. And so it may be 4 days, it may be a year, but the camping trip is most likely long forgotten. Then one day your back starts to ache, or maybe you get a slight headache. At this point, you're already dead. There is no cure. The sole caveat to this is the Milwaukee Protocol, which leaves most patients dead anyway, and the survivors mentally disabled, and is seldom done. There's no treatment. It has a 100% kill rate. Absorb that. Not a single other virus on the planet has a 100% kill rate. Only rabies. And once you're symptomatic, it's over. You're dead. So, what does that look like? Your headache turns into a fever and a general feeling of being unwell. You're fidgety, uncomfortable, and scared. As the virus that has taken its time getting into your brain finds a vast network of nerve endings, it begins to rapidly reproduce, starting at the base of your brain, where your pons is located. This is the part of the brain that controls communication between the rest of the brain and body, as well as sleep cycles. Next, you become anxious. You still think you have only a mild fever, but suddenly you find yourself becoming scared, even horrified, and it doesn't occur to you that you don't know why. This is because the rabies is chewing up your amygdala. As your cerebellum becomes hot with the virus, you begin to lose muscle coordination and balance. You think maybe it's a good idea to go to the doctor now, but assuming a doctor is smart enough to even run the tests necessary in the few days you have left on the planet, odds are they'll only be able to tell your loved ones what you died of later. You're twitchy, shaking, and scared. You have the normal fear of not knowing what's going on, but with the virus really fucking the amygdala, this is amplified 100-fold. It's around this time the hydrophobia starts. You're horribly thirsty. You just want water, but you can't drink. Every time you do, your throat clamps shut and you vomit. This has become a legitimate, active fear of water. You're thirsty, but looking at a glass of water begins to make you gag and shy back in fear. The contradiction is hard for your hot brain to see at this point. By now, the doctors will have to put you on IVs to keep you hydrated, but even that's futile. You were dead the second you had a headache. You begin hearing things or not hearing at all as your thalamus goes. You taste sounds, you see smells. Everything starts feeling like the most horrifying acid trip anyone has ever been on. With your hippocampus long under attack, you're having trouble remembering things, especially family. You're alone, hallucinating, thirsty, confused, and absolutely undeniably terrified. Everything scares the literal shit out of you at this point. These strange people in lab coats, these strange people standing around your bed crying, who keep trying to get you to drink something and crying, and it's only been about a week since that little headache that you've completely forgotten. Time means nothing to you anymore. Funny enough, you know how the bat felt when he bit you. Eventually, you slip into the dumb rabies phase. Your brain has started the process of shutting down. Too much of it has been turned to liquid virus. Your face droops, you drool, you're all but unaware of what's around you. A sudden noise or light might startle you, but for the most part, it's all you can do just to stare at the ground. You haven't slept in about 72 hours. Then you die. Always you die. And there's not one fucking thing anyone can do for you. Then there's the question of what to do with your corpse. I mean, burying it's the right thing to do, but the fucking virus can survive in a corpse for years. You could kill every rabid animal on the planet today. And if 2 years from now, some moist, preserved, rotten hunk of used-to-be brain gets eaten by an animal, it all starts over.
All right, so thanks for that. First of all, very funny. I just want to say it. Very amusing. I can see why you're terrified of it, but here's the good news. Would you like to hear the good news?
Yeah.
The good news is that the most likely route of transmission for rabies is not a 6-gram brown bat. The most likely route of transmission for rabies is a rabid dog. And in the United States, we have very strict protocols all across the United States that ensure that enough dogs are vaccinated in this country so that there is a very, very small reservoir of rabies in dogs indeed. And so the most likely way to get rabies in the United States, which is very uncommon, there are less than 5 cases a year in the United States, is from being bit by a wild animal, such as a raccoon, skunk, or bat, although, again, extremely uncommon. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is that rabies is indeed endemic in places like Afghanistan or Pakistan, in other words, Southwest Asia, where in India alone, between India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, It's estimated 50,000 people die of rabies every year, primarily because they do not have the robust dog vaccination programs that we have here in the United States. Don't want to get rabies? Vaccinate your fucking dog. End of story.
Yeah. Dogs be eating shit. They be eating the rotten brains.
They
Roll around in dead shit all the time.
They do it. That's what they do.
Man's best friend?
I don't know, dog.
I don't know, dog.
All right, go ahead. Ask me the question again. I'm ready.
What's the scariest thing in real life to you?
Hearing a single fun fact about rabies ever again, as long as I live.
I mean, I think I covered them all, to be honest. I don't think there's any
you
more.
Did. That's
No,
why
you've heard it
I
all.
just can't take any more. The most unrealistic, scary thing to me that I think about is our particular geolocation on this planet is very susceptible to being totally fucked in the event of some sort of disaster. Like if somebody wants to attack
on the coast, you
DC.
mean?
Yeah.
Well, not just the coast, but we're a peninsula with really the only way out is across bridges and or through Washington, D.C. Or Baltimore.
Water's the
So
problem.
we're fucked, yeah. If we got a boat, we'd be all right, maybe.
Maybe not.
Maybe not, yeah.
Yeah, so the more realistic, scariest thing, twofold, either a child dying before me or dying old and alone, which it probably is actually going to happen, so
Yeah.
the last one.
Yeah. Dying old and alone. Wow, that's great. A lot of confidence in my longevity and or fidelity.
You're 13 years older than I am, okay?
At least. At least.
And most people in my family live into their 90s at least, so it's just a realistic possibility.
Yeah, so you're thinking I'm going to die. But at least you're not thinking I'm going to leave you. So
I think you're going to die before you're 120, yeah. I think that's pretty likely.
yeah. It is pretty likely.
I promise you, I will never die. That's all you have to say.
That's a 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4. Oops,
And
who
we've
did I forget?
squashed it.
Yeah, good job.
But also, fun fact on the rabies front. I know I said I was mostly scared of fun facts, but I actually had a coworker who in the last few months was attacked by a rabid raccoon that he had to fight off for a prolonged period of time.
It's a good thing he was.
raccoons are mean, man.
Yeah, and it's a good thing he wasn't in a hammock.
Right.
Yeah. I think it was really the hammock thing that really was like
Yeah.
what did him in.
Yeah, I think so. So what I'm going to say is that if you don't want to get rabies, by all means, steer clear of hammocks.
Yeah, the hammock.
But
Yeah.
also herd immunity is important. In general, get your shots.
Get your shots. Now, I'll tell you another quick story. This is not comic because it's true, but the most important thing we did while we were in Afghanistan on the agribusiness development team I was on is we had a veterinarian, good old Doc, who implemented a rabies vaccination program for the provincial capital we were near. And it made a big difference, ultimately, in reducing the number of cases of human rabies that happened in that capital.
Yeah, well, that is a good thing because it's a horrifying death. There's a lot of diseases everywhere but here. I was listening to Justin Wren. He's a Bellator fighter who digs wells for pygmies in the Congo. He has this thing called Fight for the Forgotten. It's what he does. This motherfucker's had malaria like 3 times, has parasites all in his flesh, possibly in his brain. We'll know more on that later. And, it's just from eating. Like, you have to be you really can't eat anything from there. There's just, you got to wash your hands all the time, obviously. But the consequences are a lot less dire here,
Yeah, you're going to want to eat a lot of Pop-Tarts overseas in certain locations.
Yeah. Brad and I have to get quite a round of vaccinations before we can go to Ecuador.
Yeah, that's good advice. I'm pretty well covered.
Yeah.
Real covered. All right, well, good. So we've covered... we didn't really cover the scary aspects of nuclear Armageddon, though.
No, we didn't. We can go... I'd like to hear, get into it.
Well, I'll tell you, I just saw a recent simulation of and this was done by some scientists in Sweden.
Although before you jump in, let me just offer you some consolation real quick.
Yeah.
If that were to happen, you being so close to DC, it wouldn't be like a radiation thing. You know what I mean? You would definitely just get blown up immediately.
Yeah, it'd be a blast, probably. Blasted.
Like, it wouldn't be a fucking long... It's somewhere like where I live in Nebraska where, like, a bomb may not directly hit, but the radiation will make a fucking arm grow out of my ass, and then shit just piles up until it comes out of my eyeballs.
Doug, I don't know if you know what kind of military assets are in Nebraska, but no, you're going to die from blast injuries.
Yeah, you're definitely dead.
Yeah, good news, son. No
I
radiation.
assume there's probably some kind of military assets everywhere in every state so as not to have all your eggs in one basket.
True, but some have more specific kinds than others.
Yeah, some are more important.
And there's a number of nuclear power plants here.
Look, let's not get into it, all right? Look, here's the point.
Yeah.
The point is this, that wherever you live, in the event of a escalating nuclear exchange, say, between the United States, Russia, and China, there's going to be, in the immediate aftermath of the attacks, over 300 million dead. We're talking about in a period of about 72 hours.
Yeah, that seems pretty low to me.
Well,
kind of seems like everybody would be fucking dead.
But that's
far
just,
more than 300 million.
No, that's just the immediate, that's just the immediate aftermath. Then, from radiation, you're talking hundreds of millions more. And worse yet, you're going to be looking at a situation where electrical power grids are eliminated all over the world. So unless you happen to know how to live without electricity, you're going to die. So that's another few 100 million. Then, oh, by the way, all of the debris cast into the atmosphere from these nuclear explosions will darken the sun, cool the planet, such that you will probably enter essentially 2 or 3 years of severe winters.
Nuclear winter.
Indeed. That will kill, again, hundreds of millions more. And so you're looking probably at a total population loss of at least half the planet. And then basically having to rebuild civilization from scratch.
Yeah, I can't imagine more because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of nukes. Like everybody has hundreds of nukes,
yes.
Right?
Yes. Well, not everybody. There's actually, according to estimates, 9 nuclear countries. I mean, the people who have the most nuclear weapons are the United States and Russia, followed by China, India,
right, but
Pakistan.
It just seems like even if we're talking if 1,000 nuclear warheads were detonated all across the earth, I feel like it would maybe a few thousand, maybe 100,000 people would survive that.
It's hard to say, but let's hope that never fucking happens. Let's put it that way.
I mean, yeah, I don't want that to happen, but then if it does happen and we all die anyway, then who fucking cares, Doesn't matter at that point.
Good attitude. But that's what I'm most scared of. There you go.
I'm trying to look up the exact map. I know that there's one that I had to use for a study in school once that actually lets you simulate what a nuclear fallout and blast would look like, whether it hit just somewhere in the atmosphere or actually hit land. And it was using all the known nukes in the world. And let me just say that Russia's got the biggest, baddest nukes of them all.
Yeah, so here's the point. Let's maybe let's just be nice to each other. How about that?
Yeah, and that's just the nukes. There's a lot. I'm sure, even though nerve gas and chemical weapons are illegal under the Geneva Conventions, I'm sure everyone's still working on it, just in case, right?
I don't
think that shit just stopped. I feel like that would be kind of naive to think that everyone is like, oh, okay, we're done. Maybe America was like, okay, we really are done. But then, you get intelligence that China and Russia are still, just working on it, just in case. And then you're like, well, if they're working on it, we can't not work on it. So, all of those caches of whatever other horrible weapons there may or may not be in existence would also get detonated and or let loose on the earth in such a...
Cry havoc.
Yeah.
Although the thing your father should really be scared of is apple slicers.
Oh, my God. I forgot that bit of personal news. You're right. That I am very frightened of slicers. Very frightened.
Yeah, all slicers, they slice, and that's scary.
Especially when you think, I know, it's cool. I'll just use the palm of my hand to push this thing through the slicer.
Right, because I'm not gonna risk a finger, right?
Right.
I'll risk the whole goddamn thing.
Right. I'm
going all in, baby. I'm not doing that pussy one finger shit. I'm going to completely dismember myself.
Which is what I very nearly did. Actually, what I did do is I'm slicing this apple, and it's the first apple after she shows me, here's the slicer. Now, be careful. You got to turn it so that you don't. I'm like, oh, I'm so close here. Well, looks like I could get a finger. I'll just use my palm. Big chunk of my palm right into the apple. And then, yeah.
Well, bet that enhanced the flavor a little bit.
Here's my favorite, because it didn't bleed right away. It was the super fleshy part, so we got to see this big gaping hole before it actually gushed much blood.
Okay, that's wonderful.
But then He's proceeding to eat these apples.
Well, I mean, there's no reason not to eat
Right.
the apples I've already
Then the
sliced.
apples win if you don't eat them after that.
And then he gets to about 2 slices left, and the chunk of flesh is on an apple that he's about to bite. And it's about that time he said, I think I've lost my appetite.
Yeah, once you see your own flesh amongst the apples, then it's very off-putting, as you can imagine.
Right, yeah.
Nasty little cut, though.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad it wasn't fatal.
Well, it was kind of as if a nuclear bomb and rabies had a baby.
and that baby took a shit on my hand.
And you're going to die old and alone because of an apple slicer.
That's right. So, yeah, have that on your head. All right, so, yeah. So
That's on you for bringing that evil into our house.
Right, and it was Halloween, wasn't it, when that happened, I believe, or very close to
thereabouts,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, anyway, very spooky stuff.
Yeah, spooky.
Yeah, just creepy. All right, so anyway, good question. Appreciate the question.
Oh, look who it is. Sarah
Aw,
Shin has arrived.
shit.
Yeah, the Saras are back,
Looking tan.
ready and rested.
With her skin tan and her hair long and her fans who've been so patient.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, I'm glad the Saras are back safely, because I was going to ask you at what point would you begin to worry?
A day. And even then, I'd probably just be like, well, the flight probably got canceled.
So you'd give it a whole day, you
Sarah,
think, huh?
did you see that note upstairs? Yeah, that's the mystery of the zip tie.
What are you talking about? What note? What zip tie?
One time, Sarah came home and someone had zip tied her back gate shut. And everyone was like, what the fuck? That's weird.
And a bit creepy.
So then they put up cameras and shit. And I was like, why would someone do that? Like, that's not even something kids would do for fun, you know? It's just weird.
Right,
like-
let's zip tie a fence.
Yeah, it was strange. But then, so Sarah and Murph had been gone all week, so I've been house sitting for them. And I come home, I come here to let the dogs out after I get off work, and there's a sign on the front door that said, both your big dogs escaped from the backyard. I managed to get them back into the backyard and zip-tied the gate shut. And I was like, oh, well, that's what happened last time, too. There have been times where I come to Sarah's house and Moose is just in the front yard.
Yeah.
With all the doors closed and shit.
Smoking.
I don't understand how he does it.
Well, he wants to go outside and have a smoke. Isn't that obvious?
Yeah. He goes out and has a puff.
Has a
Puffy
few.
treat.
Has a few of them.
A few.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's going to do it, he's going to do it. But you have to you got to block the door or booby trap the door. Like, you can't just lock it and close it because he'll open it and let everyone out.
Yeah. You're right. It's a good thing he hasn't taught the others to smoke.
Not yet. Or that we know of.
That we know of. But, so it is interesting that we both have a lost dog story this week. This is the runaway dog episode, basically.
Yeah, mine wasn't really. They don't, go anywhere. They just get out and kind of run around the neighborhood, I guess.
You don't know. You don't know where they go.
You're right, I don't know what kind of wacky adventures they get into.
You don't know.
What kind of, sausage link, fucking chains they steal from delis as they're walking by on the street. And then the fucking butcher's like, hey, get those dogs. And then they, jump on top of a taxi or something.
Right. That probably happens all the time to those particular dogs.
Yeah.
It's a good thing there isn't a deli in our neighborhood. Lily would have been there when she ran off. I feel confident. All right. Anyway, so the girls are back. That's great news. Yeah, it is good news.
Yeah. Sarah's hacking into the mainframe right now.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna hear all about her vacation.
One time I came here and I was letting the dogs. I was like, where the fuck is Wee Wee? I could not find her. And then I was I just, your door was closed, but I just opened it anyway, and she was fucking in there with the door closed. I don't know. Well, not more than a few hours. I was there that morning, but Sandy was at work and shit. So it wasn't her. All the doors were locked. I don't know. Yeah, maybe Moose trapped her. Could have been a frame up. I don't know.
Here's the real question. Are we obligated to get Sarah Murphy in on this and sing happy birthday to her, or no?
No, because that's not where there's a delay. You two could.
Yeah,
we would have to do it differently.
Yeah.
We can't synchronize it,
I understand.
If we were in the same room, we could, yeah.
Well, would Sarah Murphy be into that in any event?
No, definitely not.
I
No
thought-
one would. No one on fucking earth would like that.
Well, I guess not. So we won't do it. I think Paul
Definitely
McCartney would like it. I think we'd owe him royalties. I believe he
Paul
owns.
McCartney?
Yeah, I believe he owns the royalties to the song "Happy Birthday."
No, he doesn't.
You don't know?
Why would you even? What makes you think that that's even possible?
'Cause
No
I
one
heard-
can own the royalties to a song that's just like no one wrote. Everyone just made up at the same time. That's what Happy Birthday is.
I don't believe that's true. I think you're inaccurate about that. Are you saying like the same is true of "Row, Row, Row Your Boat"?
Yeah.
Paul
Of course.
McCartney doesn't own it. Quick Google search.
All right, very good. Well, I thought he did.
Very good.
But so many people think that they have to have a Wikipedia entry that says he doesn't.
It belongs solely to a subsidiary of the publishing arm of Warner Music Group.
All right, well.
Warner, huh?
Yeah, I don't want those fuckers getting any money, so let's not sing
Yeah.
it. But we do wish Sara Murphy a very good birthday. I think she's, 29 now? 30?
Oh, dude. Yeah, she's how old is Murph now? 29? 29.
999. Good.
Watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, the other day.
The originator.
Last night?
Yeah, not the imitator.
Yeah, they all deserve to fucking die.
Yeah, because they're so
What are you
stupid.
doing?
Yeah.
Dude, they just walked up to a house. Hey, you got any gas here? They knock on the door. This is in Texas.
Yeah.
And the guy at the gas station's like, hey, don't go wandering around strangers' homes. Some people here don't like it, and they won't mind telling you. And then they do just that. They knock on the door just opens, and then he just walks in, boom, breaking and entering, bro. You can legally be shot in Texas now. You already fucked up.
Yeah, in
Okay.
fact, you can be legally dismembered with a chainsaw in Texas.
Well, I mean, that's what's going to happen, legally or not. There's skins all on the wall, and he's like, oh, hey, check this out. And he walks in, and Leatherface kills him, and then all his friends just walk in. Hey, what are you doing?
It's called natural selection.
Yeah, I guess, but like you can't be walking
I have a
in.
question for you, Nicholas.
Yeah.
What?
Did you only text Smurf happy birthday because Dad said something about it being her birthday?
Yes.
Yeah, you did call it. Good job. Good job, Sara Murphy. All right. So welcome
On
back.
what, being
Yeah,
born?
why is she getting congratulated in that
I don't
scenario?
know. I thought she said called it. I thought that was Sara Murphy who said that.
Nah.
It was you. Okay. So
We've spent 5 days together, and therefore we can no longer be told apart. Is that what's happening?
I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening. But you're back from your splendid cruise. How was the cruise?
From outer space, I just walked in to find you here with that dumb look upon your face.
That's true. Are
That's good.
Are you singing to Nick or me, by the way?
Obviously
Well-
me.
Probably both of us.
I was making intense eye contact.
All right. So, but how was the cruise?
It was good.
All right.
It was
Great.
nice.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
We went to the Bahamas.
Oh, really? What's left of them, huh?
Well, they look fine to me.
The parts you went to, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, okay, one of them was a private island, which, how fucked up is that going to get? And then one was not a private island, which looked like it was always in poverty. So,
Okay. So you didn't stay and help and build a homeless shelter or
fuck you think I am? A philanthropist? I spent tourist money.
All right. Well, that's true. You did your part. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, you.
I tell you what I did learn on this cruise
What's that?
is that I fucking like Cuban coffee.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Dude,
Cubano.
Well,
like
good.
the whole coffee thing's new with the whole weight loss. Like I had to replace food with caffeine.
Helps a
And-
lot.
Yeah, dude. So, but apparently I've been missing out on this whole Cuban thing.
But you're going to step right up to the pump now, I'm sure.
Well, I would if we had a Cuban population.
I was going to
In
say, it's hard
Omaha.
to find in Omaha, I'm sure. It's hard to find around here.
Yeah.
We looked it up, and there is a Cuban coffee truck, like a food truck, but a coffee truck called Mama G's. You better believe I'm going to track Mama G down.
I see. But the question is, Omaha's a fairly, not that you're in Omaha, you're in an undisclosed location, but assuming you were in Omaha, it's a pretty big city.
It is, but we don't have a very big Cuban population.
So you know where to find them. Is that what you're saying? You know where to find the
That's
Cuban?
not what I
You're
was
kind of drawing weird conclusions.
down, but I guess.
So what's the deal with all this feedback now?
What?
There's a bunch
Is
of
that
feedback. Yeah, I don't know. That is better, actually. Thanks.
I was distracted by the dog, so I moved away from the mic. My bad.
I don't know. It sounds like you've got like a speaker on and it's feeding back. That's what it sounds like.
Well, that kind of sounds like maybe our mics are too close.
Yep, probably so. Yep, that's
Well, I mean, it's not any different amount of distance from any other show we've ever done, but maybe somehow, for some reason, now the distance has changed.
The issue is when she's away from the mic, both mics were picking her up.
I don't know. We're not going to figure this out without a sound engineer. Maybe we should call a sound engineer in. Maybe not. I'm glad you're back. Glad you're into the Cuban coffee. Glad you know where to find the Cubans in Omaha to get you some Cuban coffee. I would also suggest, though, that it's possible that the internet could provide you with a dose of Cuban coffee.
Yeah, that was our second backup plan.
Yeah, just go to the internet. Good plan. So, do you have to work then tomorrow? Or did you go ahead and give yourself a day off to rest and recuperate?
I would, but I'm out of vacation days, dog.
I'm fresh out of vacation, dog. All right, so were you texting me from the cruise ship last night asking to use my Xfinity login?
No,
Yeah.
no, we got in early that morning, so then I had to drive from Miami to Orlando. I was actually in Orlando last night.
Got it. Or like at a hotel or in the airport or?
Yeah, at a hotel.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so how was Florida?
Nice and warm.
Yeah, how was the undisclosed location? Cold?
Apparently it snowed while we were gone. We missed the first snow, which is exciting.
Is that true? Nick, did it
Yeah.
snow?
Yeah, it snowed a few times.
Really? Like how much?
But like,
Flurries.
Yeah, just flurries, and then it would melt immediately afterwards.
My poor elephant ears.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, they got tarnished.
Listen, I
It
think
was too late by the time I showed up.
You're talking about plants, right? Not your actual elephant-sized ears, right, Sarah?
I didn't think any of us had elephant-sized ears, but
I have pointy
I
ears.
thought she went to the
thanks
zoo
for
and
that self-confidence thing I'm going to have now.
I thought she went to the zoo and cut off the elephant's ears and took them home.
Yeah, no, that's not what happened. But anyway, yeah, so no, Sarah, you really don't have big ears. And even if you did, who would know? You cover them with hair.
Not really. Not all the time.
No?
Rarely, actually.
Yeah, I usually wear my hair up.
I've never noticed yours, so I guess they're normal-sized or smaller.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, how
I
incredibly
distract it
inconsiderate.
with my big-ass glasses.
That's a good one right there. So what fights did you watch last night, Sarah, with my Xfinity login?
I really wanted to watch the last fight on the prelim card, which was Johnny Walker and
Corey Anderson.
And Johnny Walker got fucking destroyed.
By Corey Anderson.
I didn't see any of it. I tried to get it up on Taylor's computer, and I just succeeded in giving it AIDS.
Congratulations.
You got to be careful on which X you click.
It wasn't even, dude. Like, as soon as we would go to that website, like her computer would just be like, "You have a virus. You have a new virus." I was like, just turn it off. Turn it off. Not happening tonight. Okay.
I bet Taylor was really excited about that.
Yeah, very, very thrilled.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I didn't watch any fights last night. I did watch some college football. I watched Auburn pull out a win against Mississippi State. And then watched today. Actually, I did not watch the Corn Shuckers lose to the Purdue Boilermakers.
Jesus Christ. It's fucking embarrassing.
It is. That is. It's true. But on the brighter side for us Broncos fans, Broncos defeated the hapless Browns. God, the Browns are bad. I mean, they have this collection of talent, and they're just fucking bad. They're bad. Why are they so bad? I'm going to blame.
Barely worse than us.
I'm going to blame Freddie Kitchens. I'll tell you what, though. You get rid of Joe Flacco, all of a sudden it looks like you have an offense. Or maybe it's just that you play the Browns.
Which is strange, you know?
Not really. Flacco's been a loser for years.
I guess so.
It's no I guess so about it. Look at how the Ravens did last year under Flacco. They sucked. What made the Broncos think? What made Elway think that a sudden transplantation to the Mile High City is going to improve this guy who's got a weak arm, who is obviously bored with what he's doing, who is a terrible leader, who is no good, who is basically a bum?
Tell me how you really feel.
Well,
I mean, it's been obvious that Elway has no talent for recruiting quarterbacks despite being a former one.
Except for that one guy.
Well, yeah, those are big shoes to fill, though. You
Peyton
know?
Manning, yeah, 14 and a half probably.
Yeah.
They're big. He's big.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, so the Broncos won. That's good. And then,
Yes, like at this point, there's no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever.
yeah, whatever. All right, so the Corn Shuckers suck, the Broncos suck, and yet the season grinds on. You know, what are you going to do?
Quiet.
Yeah. I mean, Bradley in our household is a Jacksonville fan, and that's also problematic because Jacksonville, Minshew Mania sputtered today. They got their asses kicked by Houston in London in a game, which is supposedly that's Jacksonville's other home stadium, Wembley Stadium. And they just got destroyed. Destroyed. Anyway, so it's, things are glum. But here's some good sports news for you that happened this week. The Washington Nationals won the World Series in 7 games, and they won all 4 of that 7-game series. All 4 of their victories came in the juice box in Houston. It's the first time in the 120-plus years that the World Series has been played that the victorious team won all 4 of the games on the road. How about that?
Congratulations, I guess.
Moreover,
They're the oldest team, too, aren't they?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure. But one thing I do know for sure
Well,
is,
technically the youngest team.
well, yeah, in terms of, their new franchise.
In terms
yeah.
of their name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One thing's for sure, though, in both Game 6 and Game 7, both of those games, they were behind at one point in the game and then came back to win in both of those games. Incredible. Just incredible. Go Nats.
Did you just say gonads?
Well,
but I like that better. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could say go Nats. Yeah. If you
He
say,
just uses the words gonads as an exclamation, just like an end to it. It's like saying, at the end, he just says gonads.
or instead of
It's
golly.
important, but we love him
That
for it.
restaurant is really top notch. Gonads.
Look, if you weren't saying it before, you're saying it now.
Right. Or I just sliced my palm with an apple slicer. Gonads.
Oh, speaking of which, here's some personal news.
Yeah.
Oh man, it fucking hurts just to talk about it. But I had a table who was like, "Hey, this drink doesn't taste right," and I was like, "Oh, I'd be so happy to fix that for you. I'm sure it's just syrup in the back. Let me get on that, okay?" And then I ran to the back and I opened up they're like thick cardboard boxes.
Yes.
I was trying to get in there with my fucking fingernails, and I just bent my index fingernail all the way back. I mean, all the way back.
Drip it off.
No, but close enough. Like,
Oh, that's an owie. Owie, 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 owie.
it hurt like a bitch, I would say.
Yeah.
Look, that's part of the reason why I keep my nails either shellacked or really short, because fuck that shit.
Yeah, obviously, I needed to cut my nails.
I'm
I
so
guess.
sorry to hear that. Gosh. Hey, did you guys read or see anything this week of interest?
Yes.
What'd you see?
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh, good.
I read this book because what else are you going to do on a cruise? Called Gideon the Ninth, and it's about necromancy in space.
Oh, I'm into that. What?
You should
still
read
have
it. No, I got it from the library.
Who's the author?
Fucking nerd. Why don't you just?
I don't know who the author
Wait,
is.
what library?
Camera or something. The undisclosed location public library.
And you returned it already?
I got an ebook. So
God damn you! What's it called? Gideon the Ninth, huh?
Gideon the Ninth, The Locked Tomb #1.
And it was good.
It was super good. I really liked it. It's by Tamsin Muir.
Tamsin
Tamsyn. Last name Muir.
Fake name, but that's all good.
I'll see if it's available on Amazon Prime or Kindle Prime, rather.
Yeah, I don't know.
Does
I'll go.
Kindle Prime?
It just came out. It came out like I've been waiting for it to come out. I'm subscribed to the Tor.com publish house fucking newsletter or whatever, and they've been hyping it for a couple months. So I was excited for it.
And
It's
it was
really
good.
cool. It was good.
It was
You'd
good.
really like
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You both probably really like it.
Space magic. I'm all in.
Well, it's mostly just necromancy.
Even
the-
deeper in.
The space is incidental, but
My
it was
favorite
pretty cool.
kind of magic.
Necromancy in space.
So here's the actual synopsis, and that is there is an empire built on necromancy that is slowly falling into decline. And so the emperor, the Necrolord Prime, calls
Necrolord Prime?
Yeah.
calls for the sons and daughters of all 9 houses to come to his home planet and train to become lictors. So it's about the trials.
Trying to become what now?
Lictors, like
a lich?
In D&D, a lich would be analogous.
Okay, cool.
So,
damn, that does sound dope. That's just my kind of book.
Yeah. All right. Well, get it at your local public library or wherever they give books away for free.
Why the fuck wouldn't you just go get a library card? I don't understand what you have against the library.
It's
There's one right down the road.
Why don't you do it for me? Not get a library card for me, but just go check out that book.
No, what? Yeah,
you can reserve it online and then go. All you have to do is walk in and pick it up and walk out.
Okay, you do that for me.
Oh, Jesus. Fine.
All right, I'm going to see if it's available on Kindle Prime. And now what I have been reading is the collected short stories of Arthur C. Clarke, famous science fiction author. And it's really interesting. He has some recurrent themes, and his recurrent themes revolve around mankind swiftly colonizing space. We now see that to be not perhaps as foresighted as it might have seemed in the early part of the 20th century. But nevertheless, he had a vision of man going out and quickly colonizing the moon and nearby planets. But the
LOL.
The recurrent theme that he touches on is the idea of how early civilizations developed technology. And so he has a number of stories that feature more advanced civilizations giving rise to other intelligence. So it's an interesting, he wrote most of his short stories in the period between like 1940 and 1980. That's what I'm reading right now. And so it's interesting to see.
Kind of a Ray Bradbury vibe to it?
No, it's more hard science fiction, actually. Much more.
I like that.
Yeah, it's much harder science fiction. But the interesting thing about it is that, of course, some of those things that he predicted in the future actually have come to pass, particularly like noise-canceling headphones, for example, and some other stuff. And then
point one for him.
Yeah, point one for him. But the other interesting thing is just you can see just how casually misogynistic his writing is. Because, not all, but most of the female characters, there's this one story but most of the female characters are kind of stereotypical in terms of their attitudes and roles and so forth. Right. So, which is perhaps not to be unexpected, as it were. Or perhaps it is to be expected, rather, from a man of his era.
Hey,
but,
did you ever listen to that Commander Fravor podcast?
I'm really busy. But you know what I am listening to right now, actually, even as we speak? I'm listening to The Hive with Nick Bilton. It's a podcast from Vanity Fair. And who he's got on it is a guy who is a specialist in mindfulness meditation. That's right, mindfulness meditation. And I'm very interested in this particular concept. And the guy that he's talking with is a guy named Sam Harris, who has a book you're familiar?
I know Sam Harris.
Yeah. I figured you'd be. Oh, and Elsie chimed in from her undisclosed location on the floor of the sound booth with an
Yeah, Sam Harris is cool. I just bring that, and you really should. That one, I know I tell you to listen to these podcasts, and they're like 4 hours fucking long. This commander is obviously got shit to do, so he's this is only like an hour or so long. It's just something you could definitely listen to it on your way to work, to and from work in one thing.
Okay.
But I just say that I just bring that up because the way his story, the way he describes the way the unidentified object moved, and the way that Bob Lazar described the propulsion systems work. Now I kind of see that, like, in old movies like Star Wars or shows like Star Trek, where they showed the ships traveling still with combustion engines, there's like fire moving the ship forward. The more I listen to these podcasts of the way these unidentified objects move, the more I realize that there's no fucking way if we ever wanted to travel any real distance in space, we could use combustion engines.
Yeah, or rocketry.
Or rockets. not any real distance. You know what I mean? With humans on it, just the amount of fuel you would have to store up for combustion engines to take you a considerable distance in space is it's ridiculous.
Yes. So getting back to mindfulness meditation, I'm just going to say this about that, which is that I think it is important to divorce one's thoughts from one's feelings to the greatest extent possible, and to try and look at yourself objectively so that you can forgive yourself and that you can treat yourself with a degree of kindness and separate yourself from the past and the future so that you can simply concentrate on the now. It's very important in order to have a kind of life where you're not constantly consumed by anxiety, stress, and negative emotions.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste, shalom, all that. But I think that's just the very first part of that sentence is important in all factors of life, which is to separate your emotions from the way you think. If any time you start doing something and you get emotional while you're doing it, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fuck up. Happens in every single thing I've ever done. If I'm doing something and I start getting angry or frustrated or something while I'm doing it, I'm going to fuck it up. You have to remain calm and look at things objectively. I always try to do that.
Yeah.
Hilariously.
Yeah.
But I try.
Hilariously, the top recommendation on the library website, because I had to reserve that book for Nicholas, who can't figure it out.
Thank you so much.
Is No Hard Feelings, the secret power of embracing emotions at work, which is the exact opposite of everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fuck that guy.
It's a lady, to the surprise of nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that guy. All right. Anyway, that was
mildly sexist.
Yeah. That was a non-gender specific screw off.
You can't just assume her gender based on the title of the book, okay?
Guy is a non-gender specific thing these days. I don't care. Anyway, the point is that I think it's very important in terms of mindfulness to divorce one's feelings from one's thoughts. Because otherwise you get trapped in your own thoughts. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And like I said, if you go ahead.
I was just going to say that's the whole point of mindfulness and meditation and yoga and exercising till your fucking brains bleed out your ears. It's all to quiet the noise on the inside.
Dancing.
Or dancing, for that matter.
Did I ever talk about those series of books, the infection books?
Yes, you did. You said I should read them.
Phenomenal books.
Yeah.
Have you read those?
No, I haven't yet.
They definitely are on. I read them on. Actually, no, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I think
but
they
you
are
can
on
look for them
Kindle
and try to read them. They're good.
All right, good.
And you too, Sarah.
I'll do that.
Here's something else that I watched this week.
Yes.
It was on. We downloaded a bunch of shit to watch on the cruise.
Yes.
It was called Living with Yourself, starring Paul Rudd. It's on Netflix.
Oh, I saw that. Oh, I started watching another show too, but you keep going.
The episodes are only about 30 minutes long, and there's only 8 of them, and it was pretty good.
Oh, it's just like a quick series, like a one season.
They'll probably extend it, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. That looked interesting.
It was pretty funny.
I saw a movie on Netflix that was the shittiest that Eli movie.
Oh, it's called Eli.
Is that what it's called?
Book of Eli?
No, not the Book of Eli. It's just Eli. It's about this kid who's really sick, and his parents are trying to he's got to do the whole bubble boy thing, and they're trying to find a cure for him, and it's a fucking horror movie. So goddamn stupid. It was the scariest parts of it are within the first 30 or 45 minutes, and you're like, okay, all right. And then oh man, so does not pay off. At the end of the movie, I was pissed that I invested that much time. Yeah. So fucking stupid.
I understand.
Don't watch.
Do not watch.
I am watching another show that Taylor just put on called The Good Place, which is mildly amusing.
Yeah, I will tell you, Elsie's a big fan of The Good Place. She's not going to speak about it because she's on the floor of the undisclosed sound booth, but she's getting up. Here she comes. She's going to say something about The Good Place.
Just so that we all understand, I've been shitting myself for the last 2 days and have had other fun female-related things going on at the same time, so I don't feel super great, so I'm not sitting to be non-participatory. I just don't feel good. But yeah, The Good Place is amazing.
Aren't there better places to lay down than in a sound booth?
So many. So many. We could list anything and it would be a better place. It wouldn't be the good place, but it would be a better place.
The pod, man.
I just want to be close to you all, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally.
Yeah, so I guess she wasn't going to say anything about The Good Place after all, because
I said it's great.
Yeah, this sound booth is definitely not The Good Place, apparently. A bed of nails, right? A pit of fire. Basically, any place than right here is going to be a better place to lay down. And thanks also, Elsie, for sharing that your bowel and other female intestinal stress.
I thought everybody needed to know.
Oh, no question
just
about it.
how uncomfortable I am.
I agree. And you know what? When you're uncomfortable like that, the best way to get some relief is head on down to Ziff's. That's right, Ziff's fine dining and a relaxed continental atmosphere, the cure for any number of intestinal and bowel-related issues. Right there in Invercargill, New Zealand, the southernmost point of New Zealand, proud fake sponsors of a shin show for more than 100th of a century. And then if you're still, for some reason, not feeling well after you've had your fine meal at Ziff's, head on over to the throne room for a light, refreshing tattoo. Also in Invercargill, New Zealand, arguably the southernmost tattoo parlor in the world. It's the throne room, also a fake sponsor of a shin show for more than 100th of a century.
If you're not feeling good, your stomach's upset, make sure to get the Pepto-Bismol casserole from Ziff.
Right? Because I was thinking food. Wow, that's not what I was thinking at all.
Yeah, well, you know, that freshly slain kiwi juice has its own calming agents.
But when you're already miserable, what better time to get a tattoo?
Oh, exactly. You already feel like shit. Why not feel in pain and like
Why
shit?
not dig into the flesh? Why not bring your actual flesh into this?
Really bring your mindful meditation to the surface.
Exactly right. Namaste. At Ziff's. All right, so anyway, I guess that's everything for this week. I don't know. We probably should shout out to Ben. Ben, hopefully you're meditating as you listen to this. Chris, hope your intestinal issues are not bad. All right, so, and anybody else who's listening, hey, thanks for listening. It's kind of unusual that you would be, but, you know, it does happen, I guess, theoretically.
Just to give you guys a taste of like the tone of this book, this is an article that was sent from Tor.com newsletter. But the title of it is Gideon's Guide to Getting Galactic Swole, an epic tale of Skeleflex trash baggery.
Skeleflex trash baggery.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, man. I'll tell you one thing you're never going to be, son. That's a necromancer. And you know why? Necromancers sign out their own library books.
That's true, actually. I would probably be the necromancer and you would probably be the cavalier.
But you know what? You know what else necromancers do? They exhume corpses. And I do that too. So, you know.
You exhume corpses, Dad?
Yeah. Are you willing to, you know, pry teeth out of old skeletons for the possible gold caps?
That's going to be enough for me, dog.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I'll do it for you.
Thank you. It's nice to have a son who's
I'll
both
do it on you when the time comes.
Right. It's nice to have a son who's both a service professional and a necromancer. Thanks, son.
Yeah, not really a necromancer, so to speak, but
just a necro-romancer.
Necro-romancer. Just a necro whatever you pay me for.
Got it. All right, that's charming. Just charming.
Necro-capitalist. Thank you.
Yeah. Did we miss anything, children?
Necro-capitalist. Yeah. I prefer the term necro-capitalist as opposed to digging up human bodies for their valuables.
Okay, good. In fairness, I think another disclaimer is in order. My son does not actually dig up dead bodies, to my knowledge.
To your knowledge.
Yeah,
well, yeah,
fair.
to his knowledge. Yeah, that's fair.
Good point.
And or to my knowledge either. But, you know, anything can happen while I'm asleep.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I hope one thing that doesn't happen while you're asleep is that you get bit by a tiny brown bat with rabies. So stay clear of those fucking hammocks.
Yeah, anything can happen. Sometimes I wake up with long tracks of time just completely unaccounted for. And then I'll have strange bruises or cuts. And, you know, I console myself by just going outside, sitting down, and staring at the sun for as long as I possibly can. Because let me tell you something. Fits of rage come and go, but the sun, hell, the sun's there all day long.
Right. It's sun's forever. The sun's forever.
I am sunburned from my scalp down to my little piggly wiggly toesies, so can confirm.
All right.
Wosies.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Believe me, a few months in the undisclosed location in the Midwest will cure all of that sunburn.
Try 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be looking pale and ghostly in no time.
No question. Hey, one last thing, which is, did you all remember to set your clocks back?
No, I didn't, which kind of fucked me on what I thought would have fucked me on letting the dogs out this morning, because I was like, all right, I let them out at like 10, so I'll wake, I think, in the last 12 hours. I'll come back at 10, but then I slept till 11, but I actually slept till 12 because the fucking...
No.
The clock. Like, oh, shit, but it was all good. Oh yeah, and they I watched Wee Wee hunt and kill a vole.
Good job, Wee Wee.
Moose helped dig up the ground a little bit, but
She's such a good little
she
hunter.
got in there like swimwear.
Such a vicious little
Right. Moose helped him,
terrier.
and then afterwards he had a smoke. All right.
Yeah, and I recorded it and put the Breakfast Machine song from Pee Wee Herman over the top of it. They were just digging in the fucking ground. Yeah, but I didn't save it. I just Snapchatted it to everyone, except you guys for some reason.
Wow.
I don't know why.
I don't think you really did that. Maybe you did.
I did. I
Okay.
did really do that.
He
Yeah.
does that shit all the time.
I did do it.
I need to
Super
get on.
easy.
I need to get on Snapchat. Maybe not.
Well, I mean, you added me on Snapchat, but then I was like,
Did I?
yeah, you did. And I was like, I'm not accepting that because I don't want him to.
Yeah, I see any.
I was like,
shit.
I don't want him to see what I'm doing all the time, but then I don't. The only thing I ever put on my story is these dogs. So,
Right. Well,
Subscribe for more dog content.
well, I'm
more
glad.
Breakfast Machine related tunes.
Yeah, I'm glad you. I'm glad you've barred me from that content. I feel like that would be a real wedge between us. So.
I know. Yeah, it's a huge abyss in your life. It's a huge hole in you that you're trying to fill with something.
Right, with canine-related content. All right, kids, well, good to see you. A Shin Show is a production of Shinfluence. It features the voices and opinions of the Shin family, which are exclusively and entirely their own. It's brought to you on a fake basis by Ziff's Fine Dining in Invercargill, New Zealand, and by The Throne Room, a tattoo parlor in Invercargill, New Zealand, both fake sponsors of A Shin Show for more than 100th of a century. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you get your podcasts, God willing, if you really wanted to, which I doubt you do. Be sure and join us next week when we're going to hear Elsie Shin say,
Now with less shit.
all right. Look forward to that.
Now with at least
promises.
1% less feces. Except when I go to work in the morning where I put on Pusher Man by, who's that guy? By Miles Davis. I put on Pusher Man by Miles Davis, shit in my hands real quick, slick it through my hair.
Oh,
Put
God.
I'm
Drool
your
a little
Pusher
bit.
Man. And I'm just walking down the street with shit in my hair and an old blazer I bought at the Goodwill.
That's amazing.
The way he walks his walk.
Yeah. All right. Well,
And I just run into a bodega with shit all over my hands and prevent people from leaving. Just jump in front of them and shit.
That's how rabies is really spread.
yeah,
Yeah, I have rabies.
that's the true meaning of Halloween right there.
Yeah, you want to get spooky? I'll show you something spooky.
All right.
All right.
Way to wrap it up, son. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Love you, kids.
Love you too,
Yeah, all
Love
right.
peace, chicken grease.
All right. Love you, Sarah. No, what? Sarah doesn't love me, does she?
No.
She already.
I said
You-
gross.
I acknowledged that you said it.
Right, by saying gross. All right, that's funny right there. All right. Well, anyway.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.